Hey man, I wanted to just make a video because I thought it would be quicker than me like typing out, and typing out would get real boring. First things first. If you like the Obi-Wan TV show, I am not here to tell you something's wrong with you. If you like it, I am happy for it. If you love it, I am also happy for you. For me, I think it deserves more hate. And the reason why is it all has to do with the end. It all has to do with the end of the show, that very last episode. And so, in order to talk about that, we have to talk about episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. In that movie, we finally see Anakin turn to the dark side. You know, he's finally seduced, Anakin dies, Vader is born. And Yoda tells Obi-Wan, like, hey, I'm going to go kill the Emperor, you're going to go kill Anakin, and we're going to make sure that peace, freedom, justice, and security continues to thrive in the Republic. Now, Yoda just outright loses, but Obi-Wan, he can't kill Anakin because for him, like, that's his brother. He loves him. So what does he do instead? He takes off his limbs and leaves him on a lava planet by lava flows, hoping like, oh, there's no one else here. He's just going to burn up and die. And then later on, the Empire still rises, and Obi-Wan's like, damn, I thought Yoda was that guy. Guess he wasn't. So then we flash forward to essentially the first episodes of the Obi-Wan TV show, and we're saying that Obi-Wan is having a hard time dealing with the fact that his Padawan, his only single Padawan, Anakin Skywalker, is Darth Vader. Once that happens, he has to do the one thing that he should have done in episode 3, which is finally kill Anakin, finally kill Darth Vader. And the thing is, that very last episode, for me, explains all the problems with the Obi-Wan TV show. Like, I'm going to ignore the weird Leia thing, because I personally find Leia in that show to be super annoying. No disrespect to the actors. Like, they were doing their job. And even the woman, the young lady who played Leia was like, why am I in a coat? How is no one noticing? It's like, even she was just like, there are some core story problems that I don't understand. So, real quick, I just want to be real quick. I'm not crapping on anyone. But in that fight, at this point in Obi-Wan's life, Obi-Wan knows a few things. So here are some of the facts that Obi-Wan knows. 1, Empire, be bad. 2, Palpatine is a Sith that Yoda couldn't kill, so he can't try to kill him. 3, that your apprentice, Anakin, is now Darth Vader, and he's alive, and he is murdering people on a consistent basis. Like, his need to murder rivals my need to drink. And that's an extreme thing to say. So when you're faced with this situation, what should Obi-Wan do? Here's a problem. He can't make the consistent choice because of episode 4. In episode 4, Obi-Wan needs to die to Anakin. We've all seen it. It was the original Star Wars. So if you're going to have these two fight each other, you need to have some kind of way where Obi-Wan cannot give Anakin the killing blow that Anakin should have. But what does the show do? It just has Obi-Wan walk away. That's the problem. Because at this point, you can make the argument that from episode 3, the movie, and when Obi-Wan leaves Anakin on the shores of Mustafar, up until the moment that Obi-Wan fights Anakin, or Vader, I'm sorry, at the end of the Obi-Wan show, that everyone that Anakin or Vader has killed is really not on Obi-Wan's hands. Because there was no way that he could have known that Anakin would turn into Darth Vader, get some new cyborg legs, cyborg arms, breathing system, and be just out there murdering people with his little murder glow stick, the Red 5000 XL. After that moment, after that end fight where he leaves Anakin alive, everyone that Anakin kills, I'll just use Anakin, everyone that Anakin kills, Obi-Wan is just as responsible for death as Anakin is. Because you had the opportunity to kill that man, and you decide not to. And it makes no sense from a character perspective, because we have seen Obi-Wan kill people in the past. You know, Jedis are not supposed to be violent, but that doesn't mean they're not allowed to kill, right? That's a difference. And so I'm sitting there, I'm trying to understand myself, how they're going to stop Obi-Wan from killing Anakin. And the answer is basically this: he just walks away. That makes no sense. You have Anakin masked, half off, you know, basically copying Rebels, which in my opinion, I think Rebels did that a whole lot better than the show did. And you have him weak, and you can give him the killing blow, and instead you just walk away. And to try to tie up a loose end that, to a certain extent, is a loose end, but isn't like the biggest deal, you have him, instead of him calling him Darth Vader or Anakin, you have him call him Darth. That way you can sort of link up with A New Hope when he says Darth. But really, no one really cares about that. And I mean, I guess there are people who do care. I'm just not one of them. So for me, I'm just sitting here going, what was the point of this show? What was the point? Because from the moment you made this post till now, actually I wanted to make this video early, but I was busy, I had work and stuff. But from the moment you made this post, I was thinking, if I were in charge of that show, what would I have done? And to me, I would have had Obi-Wan going around trying to fix all the problems that he's created by not killing Vader and never actually have them meet up. So, Vader may go and kill a few places, and then Obi-Wan comes around, defeats the guards that are there, maybe a few Inquisitors, and helps those people get their water back or their air back or whatever it may be. He tries to do good, but he never actually confronts Vader directly. Why? Because of episode 4. Now, I had that thought an hour and a half ago. This is Disney, all right? They got a crap ton of money. This story, when you think of, for me at least, when I think about all of the characters and what they do, and my thing is this, I'm not a Star Wars fan who goes, that's not what I wanted. I'm a Star Wars fan that goes, that's not what that character would do. Because I think there is a difference between saying, well, I want blah, blah, blah to happen versus I want that character to do something that is in line with who they are, right? So it would be very unrealistic just to be extreme here, for Obi-Wan to go on a murder rampage. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So I'm not saying I want him to do things I want him to do. I want him to do things that are consistent with what we know about Obi-Wan as a whole and what we know about Vader as a whole and we know about the Inquisitor as a whole. And I just think that is just, it's very poorly designed. It does not, it feels as if they greenlit this show and they said, well, we have to do it. We've told people, we can't keep announcing TV shows and movies and canceling it. We can't announce the guys who did Game of Thrones. We can't announce that they're getting a Star Wars movie and then cancel it. And then afterwards saying Rian Johnson's getting his own thing, which, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Last Jedi. And then cancel it. And then we can't have, the Rangers of the New Empire, no, the New Republic cancel. At some point, we got to start putting some stuff out there because these people are going to be what's the point? So we said we're going to do Obi-Wan. We're going to do Obi-Wan. And to me, this needs a lot more time in the writer's room. Me personally, if you're going to do an Obi-Wan show, which I kind of don't think, I don't really think we need it. But if you're going to do it, for me, now this is the part where I'm saying, for me, it needs to be a meditation on the nature of grief. About what happens when the person that you love the most in the world betrays everything that you taught them, everything that you love about them. And not just that, but after they turn their back on you and what you are about, they then spend the next, 10, 15 years murdering people across the galaxy. That is an idea. Now, I get it. We do need to see some lightsabers. We need to get some of the Force, electric fingers. Well, he's a Jedi, so he wouldn't have sparkle fingers. But we got to have a little push. We got a little pull. We got to have that. I get that. But it really should be about how Obi-Wan is dealing with the fact that he had a chance to kill the number 2 evil person in the galaxy and didn't do it. That would be as if you were a U.S. soldier fighting in World War II and you had the opportunity to kill Goebbels, because Hitler would be the emperor. You had the opportunity to kill Goebbels. And you have him right there. You just went, nah, I'm good. And then you learn about the camps. And you learn about the Jewish people and what they went through. All of those deaths are on you. And so then you have to ask yourself, what am I? What do I do? What is my purpose? What is my goal in life? How do I get forgiveness for what I've done? Who can forgive me? All of these things, none of these things, in my opinion, are adequately addressed in the Obi-Wan TV show. And so for me, it's just a letdown. It's a letdown because, even they say it's supposed to be the fight of the century. I even don't like the way the lightsabers work. Now, this right here, I will admit, is a little bit nitpicky. I'm fully aware of that. The lightsabers are too bouncy. I kind of like the style and combat of the prequels and of the original trilogy. I find, and even The Force Awakens, but I feel like after The Force Awakens, they become like bouncy sticks. So they're constantly just bouncing off each other instead of bah. But that's neither here nor there. Also, Obi-Wan, is it always just filmed in the desert? outside of LA in like a little small area? Do we not go anyplace? I mean, yeah, we go to a forest, but I feel like that forest is also right outside of LA. Those are nitpicks, fully aware. But when we talk about the actual story, that last episode to me summarizes so many problems with that show because the characters are inconsistent with whom we know them to be. What they do is illogical, but they make choices that make sense because of episodes 3 and 4, the movies. But if you took that character, and I guess the best way to say it is like, imagine episode 3 ends, and there was no episode 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that when Obi-Wan ends, he would have killed Darth Vader. He would have killed him. But because episode 4 is there, you can't do it. And so you have this weird box where you're trying to figure out, how do we have a fight that has essentially no consequences? Because that's the fight. The fight has no consequences. Does Anakin die? Nope. Does Obi-Wan die? Nope. Does anything really change? No. And that is the hollowness, the emptiness I find in the Obi-Wan show and a few others, but we're talking about Obi-Wan. I feel like it's hollow. There's a lot of activity, there's a lot of action, but it really doesn't go anywhere. And that is my problem with Obi-Wan show, and I think it deserves more hate. And the reason why I think it deserves more hate is that if we give it more hate, then Disney is going to hopefully learn their lesson. Take your time. Stop announcing 15 projects every 2 years or at every Star Wars event, whether it was like the one that was here in Chicago or the ones in LA, and then say, we have like all these projects coming up, and then you cancel half of them, and then the half that make it are kind of craptastic. Take your time, think it through, and sometimes that may mean you can't crack that nut. That's fine. Just don't say anything. Don't tell me you're going to make a show, then see once you start to develop it, crap, we can't really do anything, but we already said we're going to make this, so then you make it and it's subpar. You ruin the value of the IP that you created. You ruin the value of the stories, and you separate your fandom. Because at the end of the day, Disney is a business, and they're in the business of making money. But if you keep doing things like this, those returns become smaller, smaller, and smaller. And I think that's happening with a lot of people. They're just getting frustrated that it seems as if Disney does not care. As long as if they spend a nickel, they make back a dime, they're perfectly happy, regardless of the fact that people are just not into it anymore. And at some point, they're going to spend a nickel and they're only going to get back 8 cents. And they're going to well, hey, that's still a profit. My thing is, what happens when you spend a nickel and you only get back 6 cents? If you're taking your time, you could spend a nickel and make a quarter. So I think it deserves more hate. But as I said at the very beginning, if you like it, I am happy for you. I'm not crapping on anyone who loves that or who likes it. Also, I'm not crapping on any of the actors because they're simply doing their job. For me, it comes down to the writers. The writers are the ones who should have put in the time, energy, effort into it. And if they're saying like, "Hey, we had great ideas, but we sort of forced to do this," then it's the studio that basically said, "Give me your first draft. We're gonna film with that." But yeah, that's all I got to say, man.